Scene 3. Inside the hyacinth room. The general effect of the room is exotic and oriental. There are hyacinths everywhere, of every color, some in pots, some with bulbs and glass vases, and the roots going down into the water. On top of the tiled stove is a large seated Buddha, in whose lap rests a bulb, from which rises the stem of a shallot, bearing its globular cluster of white star-like flowers. On the right is an open door, leading to the round room where the colonel and the mummy are seated, inactive and silent. A part of the death scene is also visible. On the left is a door to the pantry and kitchen. The student and the girl, Adele, are beside the table. He standing, she seated with her harp. Girl. Now sing to my flowers. Student. Is this the flower of your soul? The one and only. Do you too love hyacinth? I love it above all other flowers. Its virginal shape rising straight and slender out of the bulb, resting on the water and sending its pure white roots down into the colorless fluid. I love its colors, the snow white, pure as innocence, the yellowy honey sweet, the youthful pink, the ripe red, but best of all the blue, the dewy blue, deep-eyed and full of faith. I love them all, more than gold or pearls. I have loved them ever since I was a child, have worshipped them because they all have the fine qualities I lack. And yet... Go on. My love has not returned, for these beautiful blossoms hate me. How do you mean? Their fragrance, strong and pure as the early winds of spring which have passed over melting snows, confuses my senses, deafens me, blinds me, thrusts me out of the room, bombards me with the poisoned arrows that would wound my heart and set my head on fire. Do you know the legend of that flower? Tell it to me. First, its meaning. The bulb is the earth, resting on the water or buried in the soil. Then the stalk rises straight as the axis of the world. And at the top are 6 pointed star flowers. Above the earth, the stars. Oh, that's wonderful. Where did you learn this? How did you find it out? Let me think. In your eyes. And so, you see, it is an image of the cosmos. This is why Buddha sits holding the earth bulb, his eyes brooding as he watches it grow, outward and upward, transforming itself into a heaven. This poor earth will become a heaven. It is for this that the Buddha waits. I see it now. Is not the snowflake 6-pointed too like the hyacinth flower? You are right. Snowflakes must be falling stars. And now the snowdrop is a snow star, grown out of snow. But the largest and most beautiful of all the stars in the firmament, the golden red Sirius, is a narcissus with its gold and red chalice and 6 white rays. Have you seen the shallot in bloom? Indeed I have. It bears its blossoms within a ball, a globe like the celestial one strewn with white stars. Oh, how glorious! Whose thought was that? Yours. Yours. Ours. We have given birth to it together. We are wedded. Not yet. What's still to do? Waiting. Ordeals. Patience. Very well. Put me to the test. Tell me, why do your parents sit in there so silently, not saying a single word? Because they have nothing to say to each other. and because neither believes what the other says. This is how my father puts it. What's the point of talking when neither of us can fool the other? What a horrible thing to hear. Look at her, how big and fat she is. They watch the cook, although the audience cannot yet see her. What does she want? To ask me about the dinner. I have to do the housekeeping as my mother's ill. What do we have to do with the kitchen? We must eat. Look at the cook, though. I can't bear the sight of her. Who is that ogress? She belongs to the Hummel family of vampires. She is eating us. Why don't you dismiss her? She won't go. We have no control over her. We've got her for our sins. Can't you see that we are pining and wasting away? Don't you get enough to eat? Yes, we get many dishes, but all the strength is gone. She boils the nourishment out of the meat and gives us the fibre and water, while she drinks the stock herself. And when there's a roast, she first boils out the marrow, eats the gravy, and drinks the juices herself. Everything she touches loses its savour. It's as if she sucked with her eyes. We get the grounds when she has drunk the coffee. She drinks the wine and fills the bottle up with water. We'll send her packing. We can't. Why not? We don't know. She won't go. No one has any control over her. She has taken all our strength from us. May I get rid of her? No. It must be as it is. Here she is. She will ask me what is to be for dinner. I shall tell her. She will make objections and get her own way. Let her do the ordering herself, then. She won't do that. What an extraordinary house. It is bewitched. Yes. But now she's turning back, because she has seen you. The cook in the doorway. No, that wasn't the raisin. She grins, showing all her teeth. Get out, when it suits me. It does suit me now. She disappears. Don't lose your temper. Practice patience. She is one of those ordeals we have to go through in this house. You see, we have a housemaid too, whom we have to clean up after. I'm done for. Cornatere. Music. Wait. Music. Patience. This room is called the Room of Ordeals. It looks beautiful, but it's full of defects. Really? Well, such things must be seen to. It is very beautiful, but a little cold. Why don't you have a fire? Because it smokes. Can't you have the chimney swept? It doesn't help. You see that writing desk there? An unusually fine piece. But it wobbles. Every day I put a piece of cork under that leg, and every day the housemaid takes it away when she sweeps, and I have to cut a new piece. The pen holder is covered with ink every morning, and so is the inkstand. I have to clean them up every morning after that woman, as sure as the sun rises. What's the worst job you can think of? To count the washing. Ugh. That I have to do. Ugh. What else? To be waked in the middle of the night, and have to get up and see to the window, which the housemaid has left banging. What else? To get up on a ladder and tie the cord on the damper, which the housemaid has torn off. What else? To sweep after her, to dust after her, to light the fire in the stove when all she's done is throw in some wood. To see to the damper, to wipe the glasses, to lay the table over again, to open the bottles to see that the rooms are aired, to remake my bed, to rinse the water bottle when it is green with sediment, to buy matches and soap which are always lacking, to wipe the chimneys and trim the wick, to keep the lamps from smoking, and so that they don't go out when we have company, I have to fill them myself. Music. Wait. The labor comes first. The labor of keeping the dirt of life at a distance. But you are wealthy and have 2 servants. It doesn't help. Even if we had 3. Living is hard work, and sometimes I grow tired. Think then if there were a nursery as well. The greatest of joys. And the costliest. Is life worth so much hardship? That must depend on the reward you expect for your labors. I would not shrink from anything to win your hand. Don't say that. You can never have me. Why not? You mustn't ask. You dropped your bracelet out of the window because my hand has grown so thin. The cook appears with a Japanese bottle in her hand. There she is. The one who devours me and all of us. What is she in her hand? It is a bottle of coloring matter that has letters like scorpions on it. It is the soy which turns water into soup and takes the place of gravy. She makes cabbage soup with it. And mock turtle soup too. Student to cook. Get out! You drain us of sap, and we drain you. We take the blood and leave you the water, but colored. Colored. I am going now, but all the same I shall stay as long as I please. She goes out. Why did Bankston get a medal? For his great merits. Has he no defects? Yes, great ones. But you don't get a medal for them. They smile. You have many secrets in this house. As in all others. Permit us to keep ours. Don't you approve of candor? Yes. Within reason. Sometimes I'm seized with a raging desire to say all I think. But I know the world would go to pieces if one were completely candid. I went to a funeral the other day. In church. It was very solemn and beautiful. Was it Mr. Hummels? Yes. At the head of the coffin stood an old friend of the deceased. He carried the mace. I was deeply impressed by the dignified manner and moving words of the clergyman. I cried. We all cried. Afterwards we went to a tavern, and there I learned that the man with the mace had been in love with the dead man's son. The girl stares at him, trying to understand. And that the dead man had borrowed money from his son's admirer. Next day the clergyman was arrested for embezzling the church funds. A pretty story. Oh. Do you know how I am thinking about you now? Don't tell me, or I shall die. I must. Or I shall die. It is in asylums that people say everything they think. Exactly. My father finished up in an asylum. Was he ill? No. He was well. But he was mad. You see, he broke out once, in these circumstances. Like all of us, he was surrounded with a circle of acquaintances. He called them friends for short. They were a lot of rotters, of course, as most people are, but he had to have some society. He couldn't get on all alone. Well, as you know, in everyday life, no one tells people what he thinks of them. And he didn't either. He knew perfectly well what frauds they were. He'd sound the depths of their deceit, but as he was a wise and well-bred man, he was always courteous to them. Then one day he gave a big party. It was in the evening, and he was tired by the day's work, and by the strain of holding his tongue, and at the same time talking rubbish with his guests. The girl is frightened. Well, At the dinner table he, rapped for silence, raised his glass and began to speak. Then something loosed the trigger. He made an enormous speech in which he stripped the whole company naked, one after the other, and told them of all their treachery. Then, tired out, he sat down on the table and told them all to go to hell. Oh. I was there, and I shall never forget what happened then. Father and mother came to blows. The guests rushed to the door, and my father was taken to a madhouse where he died. Water that is still too long stagnates. And so it is in this house, too. There is something stagnating here. And yet I thought it was paradise itself the first time that I saw you coming in here. There I stood that Sunday morning gazing in. I saw a colonel who was no colonel. I had a benefactor who was a thief and had to hang himself. I saw a mummy who was not a mummy and an old maid. What of the maidenhood, by the way? Where is beauty to be found? In nature, and in my own mind, when it is in its Sunday clothes. Where are honor and faith? In fairy tales and children's fancies. Where is anything that fulfills its promise? In my imagination. Now your flowers have poisoned me, and I have given the poison back to you. I asked you to become my wife in a home full of poetry and song and music. Then the cook came. Sursum corda. Try once more to strike fire and glory out of the golden harp. Try, I beg you, I implore you on my knees. Then I will do it myself. He picks up the harp, but the strings give no sound. It is dumb and deaf. To think that the most beautiful flowers are so poisonous, are the most poisonous. The curse lies over the whole of creation, over life itself. Why will you not be my bride? Because the very life spring within you is sick. Now I can feel that vampire in the kitchen beginning to suck me. I believe she is a lamia, one of those that suck the blood of children. It is always in the kitchen quarters that the seed leaves of the children are nipped, if it has not already happened in the bedroom. There are poisons that destroy the sight, and poisons that open the eyes. I seem to have been born with the latter kind, for I cannot see what is ugly as beautiful, nor call evil good. I cannot. Jesus Christ ascended into hell. That was his pilgrimage on earth. To this madhouse, this prison, this charnel house, this earth. And the madmen killed him when he wanted to set them free. But the robber they let go. The robber always gets the sympathy. Woe. Woe to us all. Savior of the world, save us. We perish. And now the girl has drooped, and it is seen that she is dying. She rings. Bankston enters. Ring the screen. Quick, I am dying. Bankston comes back with the screen, opens it, and arranges it in front of the girl. The liberator is coming. Welcome, pale and gentle one. Sleep, you lovely, innocent, doomed creature, suffering for no fault of your own. Sleep without dreaming. And when you wake again, may you be greeted by a sun that does not burn, in a home without dust, by friends without stain, by a love without flaw. You, wise and gentle Buddha, sitting there waiting for a heaven to sprout from the earth, grant us patience in our ordeal and purity of will, so that this hope may not be confounded. The strings of the harp hum softly, and a white light fills the room. I saw the sun. To me it seemed that I beheld the hidden. Men must reap what they have sown. Blessed is he whose deeds are good. Deeds which you have wrought in fury cannot in evil find redress. Comfort him you have distressed. With loving kindness, this will heal. No fear has he who does no ill. Sweet is innocence. A faint moaning is heard behind the screen. You poor little child. Child of this world of illusion, guilt, suffering, and death. This world of endless change, disappointment, and pain. May the Lord of Heaven be merciful to you upon your journey. The room disappears. Buchlin's picture, The Island of the Dead, is seen in the distance. And from the island comes music, soft, sweet, and melancholy. Curtain. And that is the end of Strindberg's Ghost Sonata, written in 1907. As always, consider following, subscribing, so you can see whatever I'm going to do next. If you have plays of your own or have plays that you would like to have read, contact me at my email, bemuseartsinc@gmail.com. And I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day. And I hope to have you back in Brendan Moyer's Playwright Corner. Thank you.